Hi and welcome to 10 by 10. Are you looking to buy or sell a house in 2020? If so, we cover the top 10 topics in 10 weeks. My name's Stuart Rose.
And I'm Kevin Marley.
This week we're going to be talking about negotiations and conditions. So Kevin, when do conditions come into play?
Conditions come into play as you're drafting up an offer. Now, these conditions are found at the back of the offer, and they supersede all of the pre-printed wording before it. So it's extremely important that any of the wishes you want in the deal are communicated in writing to the other party in this section. Stu, how about some examples?
So probably the most common examples of conditions that you're going to see in a real estate transaction is finance and inspection. What that normally says is the buyer has 5 days to make certain they can actually get a mortgage on the house they're trying to buy. And if you think about it, that's fair enough. The bank can't say that they're going to lend money to someone until they've verified that the property you're trying to buy is actually worth the amount that you're paying for it. The second thing, inspection, is normally again 5 working days and basically says the buyer has the right to bring someone in to look at the house, make sure that it's not going to fall down in a few months, the general condition is okay, and then confirm back to the seller that they're satisfied with the condition of the house and the deal can go ahead. Now, with both of those clauses, the standard wording of them normally says that the buyer has to come and say to the seller, yes, it's all good, waive the conditions, we are now firm. Or if they don't do that, the deal is deemed to be null and void. Other conditions are probably a little more specialised, and that's where you're getting into things that are specific to that transaction, that home, or the particular buyer and seller. An example of that would be a home sale clause, where the buyer says, I definitely want to buy this house, but it's conditional upon me being able to sell my house. That's tricky because it ties up the seller for quite a long period of time. So to make the condition something that the seller can actually accept, it's very normal for the realtor, for the buyer to put a clause in there that says, look, if you do get another offer, fine, but you have to come to us and give us 48 hours to decide whether we can firm up and get rid of that condition or not. This is why your realtor's so key on these things. It's because they need to be able to tailor this so that everyone is protected and you end up with an offer that's acceptable to both parties where everyone understands what is going to happen, which is one of the main functions of conditions. So Kevin, how should you structure a condition as a realtor in order to protect your client?
Stu, I find it helpful if we break it down into 3 categories. In the first one, it's what is to be done. What is the task that needs completing? The second section is how long do they have? What's their deadline? And then the third one, it's what happens if they fail to meet that deadline. So, for example, if a fence needed to be replaced, the first section would say, we need the fence to be replaced or repaired, and then we would like to inspect it with an inspector of our choosing, and that would satisfy the first condition, the first section. The second part is we need it done by 5 days before closing. That gives us enough time to come in, and if we need to make other arrangements, we can. We have those 5 days. It's a nice window. And then the third section, it's, okay, you haven't done it with 5 days to go, so now you owe us $2,000. And so that is how you break down any condition, and it's got these 3 bare bones subcategories. So Stu, with that in mind, how does that affect negotiations?
I think the most important thing for people to realise is there is a link between the number of conditions you have and the price that you end up paying. Simplest way to explain that, if you are someone selling your home and you're looking at 2 offers in front of you, one of them says, okay, I have a condition here about financing and inspection because they need to make sure that they can actually get the money to buy your house, and they need to make sure the house isn't going to fall over in a few months' time as well. Then I think most sellers will look at that and say, okay, that's pretty reasonable. Both of these will probably be satisfied within 5 days, and then I'll definitely know that my house is going to be sold. On the other hand, they may have an offer which is, say, for $10,000 more, so it's more attractive from a price point of view, but might have 8 conditions in there with different end dates, and a lot more risk, if you like, that that deal may not close. In those situations, it's not uncommon for sellers to say, you know what, actually, I'll take the offer that's $10,000 less because I don't want the higher risk of the sale not going through. It's something to discuss with your realtor. They can help advise you on how and when conditions will affect sale price, but they are important and you want to use them as sparingly as possible when you are putting offers in.
That's right, Stu. It's incredibly important your realtor explains this process to you because of how much of an impact it has on your ability to buy the house. Next week, we're going to take a look at the emotional impact of moving. And so thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe.
And let's be honest, I mean, this is like week 7 now, so you really should have hit the button already. Come on, you know you want to.